Hey everyone, Eyal here. How are you all doing? Hopefully audio is okay. Let's see what's going on here. Hopefully you can hear me correctly. My feedback monitors or my view meters work weird, but looks like they're okay. So how are you doing? My name is Eyal. For those who don't know me, you might know me from music stuff, programming stuff, audio dev related things. And this is my fun stream where I'm doing my own thing, kind of exploring the idea of gaming related, let's call it gaming related technology. So yeah, thank you all for joining. As you may know, as you may not know, I'm streaming this on multiple platforms, so you can always comment on the chat and let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to start a discussion about something technical I'm doing, if I do know what I'm doing. Generally speaking, so I'm going to be doing the all kinds of game stuff in C++. So I do know C++ hopefully pretty well, but I'm pretty new with all the gaming and graphics stuff. So it's a very interesting learning process. Yeah, so that's what's happening. Hopefully this will be beneficial for you. So let's see what's going on here. And let's see where we are. So where I was, maybe I changed things a little bit in the previous stream, but basically there is an abstraction layer here on top of SDL and OpenGL. It definitely needs work, like it's very basic at the moment. Let's have a look at what it does. You can see it moves things on screen. And that's okay. That's pretty much the the general idea. You can see there's a gradient, separate gradient here for every rectangle, and this is all abstracted. So there's like there's this little engine render thing that's separate from the the actual OpenGL, and there's some abstraction that eventually calls the OpenGL functions when this happens. And this is some improvement. So one of the first things I wanted to do is I wanted to improve the threading model a little bit. So far, my abstraction layer is using, internally the app thing as actually the update actually gets called by SDL. So this is an update loop for event handling, right? Let's see exactly what that is. And so I'm just going to debug this, and you can see that the call stack here. So hopefully you can see that I called start app, right? This was my call. There's some templating happening here. And that internally created the SDL app and passed in a bunch of callbacks. And the callbacks got called by SDL. I can't see the actual SDL call site because it's pre-compiled. But SDL called me back basically whenever it was time to run an update. And I ran all the OpenGL stuff in there. And what I wanted to try is moving all that stuff to another thread, so that rendering happens on the side thread. So what it means, because when I tried in like an initial experiment to do that, what happened was I saw that OpenGL did not like the fact that I initialized it and then drew on another thread. So I think I have to do everything on the same thread. So let's see if we can abstract a few things here so that it does work. Maybe we would need to create couple threading helpers. But the general idea is, if we're going to OpenGL canvas, there's a bunch of draw calls happening. But what I want is probably so that the update loop itself, yeah, and even this, like all of this might want to run on the side thread. How does that work now? When I create it, I call start app, and then Yeah, enter app main callbacks. I think this is a blocking function. It basically starts the full chain of calls. Yeah, so I think what I need to do because I'm guessing or I guess maybe the main problem is, or maybe it's a different problem. Yeah, because I think the problem is I need to make the app and OpenGL run on a separate thread. So the app itself should still run on the main thread, I believe. But let's see what my init function looks like. Here it is. So init SDL. I wonder if I can init SDL. Oh, here it is. Create window. Okay, so when I'm creating the window, I'm already initializing OpenGL. So maybe I would do this in two separate steps because there's a bunch of SDL, GL things. And then I think this is what, if I understand correctly, some of this stuff should only be called in whatever thread is by OpenGL. Okay, so let's have a look. So and that would mean that this constructor would need to be separated, including this update size thing. Yeah, I definitely need to learn more about the threading model of this thing because I need to, I'm really hoping that SDL is going to allow this thing that I'm trying to do. Yeah, so what I can, for a start, what I can do is I can make the window for start just own this thread, or maybe I can have the app own the thread. The app owns this thread, probably a better idea. So let's go to the app abstraction. Yeah, and then it creates the window. So maybe I'm going to try to do something like a init function and not call this directly. Or maybe I should be able to create, you know what? Maybe I should be able to create the window. Just do everything on this side thread instead of doing it separately. So let's make the app. Yeah, let's do that. Get app.create. That can be separate maybe, but this can already be on the side thread. So, so what happens when I create the app? Oh, okay. So that's just a signal that I made for myself to initialize the app on the main thread. Yeah, so I can definitely do that. I can definitely. I do just want to make sure they have a concrete order of calls and creation of objects here. So that, for example, if I'll have, okay, let's see, where's my app class? Start app. Let's read about this. Let's read if we can find some information about SDL OpenGL threads. Let's see if we can get some more information about this. From the main, okay, so I can have context management. Okay, OpenGL context. You can create multiple OpenGL contexts, but each context can only be used by one thread. Okay, that's fine. Single thread rendering. Okay, some threads from all rendering operation to the main thread. Okay, other threads can perform calculation. Can we ensure that you're calling SDL pump event same thread as SDL in it? Okay, that I can do. Specifically, I want to know about OpenGL. This is exactly what you described. They do all the window handling and main thread, run the game logic in the renderer front end, which only prepares draw calls. I'm doing exactly that, but doesn't call OpenGL. Bet it being better with old APIs. So let's see what else. Yeah, so if that's the case, maybe I should avoid doing the side thread thing. If this is the main way where this works. The reason why I wanted to do this, by the way, is that there's a bug. But I don't know why, but my system seems to be sending a display, like dims the display, dim display. Can I ask you to not do that? Like do not dim display. That's a question. Good question, actually. Have you tried the AI assistant in Sea Lion? Do you use it? Is it worth it? I've tried it a couple of months ago, and I thought it was not good, like not compared to the newer AI features that exist. So that's why I don't like to use it so much. Maybe we can make an experiment on it during the stream. But I would like to try it. I would love to be able to use it, so because I did see good things done with Copilot and other AI assistants that were better. So I would love to get this to work somehow. But this is a good question. Okay, so maybe I shouldn't be setting up a separate thread. Maybe this is the way to do this. The reason why I want to do this is there's actually a current bug in SDL. Let's roll back what I'm doing. There's a bug that's specific to Mac. I've seen them talk about this. The bug is that during resize, like whenever an event comes in, you can see rendering gets stuck. So I thought it might be good to do the entire rendering bit on a side thread, but maybe it's not recommended. Because if I could do that and kind of avoid blocking, because I'm not blocking this reset. This actually works really well on Windows. It just gets stuck on Mac, and it's a reported issue in SDL. Yeah, so good to know. I'm so used to using ChatGPT, I can't imagine Sea Lions being better. I mean, the main advantage of Sea Lion doing that is that Sea Lion knows more about the project context, and you kind of fill GPT in with those details. But I don't know. I feel like the newer ChatGPT models are just better. At least that's my impression of it. OpenGL is not multi-threaded. All your GL commands are in the same thread, which GL context was created. It is not shared. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Oh, and keeps graphics on the main thing. Okay. Generally, this is 6 and half a dozen. But general guide for the solution, program starts. Yeah, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a new thread for graphics. Refactor your renderer code into renderer class. The renderer handles window and context creation destruction and all rendering calls. It should also keep track of renderable object. Okay, I can do all of that. Really, what I wanted was to, yeah, you can have multiple contexts and share data between them. But I don't want multiple contexts. I really just want the one context. You know what? I'm just going to try this and see if it works. And who knows if it's going to work or not. Yeah, because as you can see, there's no element of threading here from what I can see. Like init has to basically calls everything, and I can spawn the thread right now. Basically spawn a thread and then start to pump stuff into the make calls into the thread. Maybe it's more hassle than it's worth. I don't know. All right, so let's start with something else that is more straightforward, hopefully. Just see, so pet display. Dim. All right. So what I'm going to do now, the one thing I did so far in this update function, which is probably not a good idea, and we can improve that. So let's have a look in this actual game. Okay, so this is a good question. What does the AppHolder do? So first of all, let's explain the interface here a little bit, because there's some details, like what from the prototype, right? So from the perspective, let's look at this basic game. I hope it still compiles. It was like a testing thing. So basic, okay. Basic game just does, it's just something that spawns a blank window and does keyboard handling, basically. So it should, as you can see, it does a black window, and then when I type things on the keyboard, it's gonna debug stuff on my my little thing. So yeah, so the idea is that in general, the actual exposed interface, this should not be here. This should not be here. So the actual exposed interface has way less than these things. Like it doesn't even do, you see all the AppHolder stuff. AppHolder stuff is actually an internal manager thing. So yeah, so the user just creates what's called an app. It's the user just calls start app and then uses something that inherits from app to receive callbacks. App itself does some gnarly low-level detail stuff. But those are only like implementation details. So let's talk about them. So AppHolder, just at this point, AppHolder just receives something called an app state. That is something that is a little bit exposed by the user. Like it has, should it run, and few like the key handler. These are window options. Things that are exposed to the user. And then this thing eventually, AppHolder eventually, it creates the window and all kinds of like internal things that are not exposed. The design concept was that the user is going to interact with this user, like the game, is going to interact with these classes through more basic structs. Like the user is not going to touch the window. Instead, the user touches this thing called the window options, that says width, height, name, OpenGL version, stuff like that. Like it's just gonna interact through some like a clean interface, and then internally, AppHolder, which is an implementation only class that it knows when to create the window. It receives callback from SDL because we can't. Let's see where this thing gets called, right? So it gets called. You see, AppHolder in this case is a singleton, is a global. Because the app can only be one, but the idea is that we only create the window when we get instructed by SDL. So the holder that it currently mostly does holds the window, but it's probably going to hold a few other things. That's really the idea of it. It's something that the singleton gets created once and manages the window, and other things that are probably going to be in the future. There are like all kinds of like handlers or something for systems things that are specific to like the global app. So that's really the I guess the purpose of this. And what I want to do now is currently what I'm doing is I am when I call update, I'm actually just rendering things as fast as I can. And I probably don't need to do that. What I probably need to do is make sure that that I call this with some, I'm still not sure how to manage stuff like, timers and logical things, but at least I think I should be able to, what I should be able to do is I should be able to force this to run at a specific frame rate. Because right now you can see this update, this is actually not anything to do with drawing. This is just like more like a logical update. So I should be, in theory, I should be able to do this on another thread than the thread that renders, but I don't have that infrastructure yet. Like ideally, update would do this, go through the rects and updates, and all of this, and this is everything. Like this does all the animation stuff that this little game is doing, and this should be called later when I'm rendering. That's probably clearer, right? So maybe I can separate this. Maybe I can do. The only thing I need to fix is that like we can't have a big threading race here. Like I can't just move this to another thread without some thread synchronization work. Okay, so let's see what we're going to do. The first thing I need to do to make this more consistent, I think, is I need to do some more logical management of this loop here. Oh, there's another question from Abhishek. Thanks for the answer. What's the advantage of using the AppHolder versus trying to run everything in an event loop run in the main function? Okay, this is a very good question. Let me explain this. Okay, or maybe I will bring my face a little bit here. Yeah, so this is a very good question. Let me explain the flow here, which is kind of like, this is really a lot about my attempts to abstract this into a model that I think is good, because you don't have to. Like if you look at one of the SDL examples, they can just spawn everything on the main thing. But there is some statefulness that has to be done. Like for example, the way SDL is designed, let's go into these things, or at least why I understand SDL, which is limited. Okay, so eventually, let's go here. Where's my little function that I'm calling create app? Not this one, but the templated function. Here it is, start app. Sorry, not create app. Start app. Okay, so the idea is, and let's have a look at so you can see when I'm creating this has to be initialized with a bunch of statefulness. You can see this calls init and update. So this calls, this kind of tells SDL, okay, I'm ready to initialize the app, and SDL calls me first with init function, right? That's the first thing that it does. So init function is supposed to create a bunch of stateful things, like the let me move myself over here. Okay, so for example, the way SDL is designed is that here I would create a bunch of like heavyweight objects, right? Like I can't just respawn the window, for example, every render function. I have to have a window that's created, and when the app finishes, it has to destroy. So that has to remain in memory. That's why I can't just do it on the message loop. I have to do it once, right? And I could, what I could do is, have a few entry points for the init when I'm creating everything, allocating memory and doing that. And the what's here is called update function, right? So the way it's designed is that you would initialize everything, then you would get events from the OS, like keyboard events, mouse events, window resize events. There's a bunch of events, gamepad stuff, gamepad clicks, and then you would get the continuously running update loop. So it has to be, you kind of have to do it like this. I could expose the initialization to the user. So what I could do is let the user do this here, but there's some cross-platform reasons to doing it like this, because on some platforms that SDL supports, like iOS, for example, it's actually going to connect to like some OS message loop. So it's not going to be the same thread. I can't just have my thread like main, like here, and say, hey, initialize, update. Like I can't just do that. I can do that on Mac and PC, but it's not going to work on iOS. So I'm going to have to wait for I have to initialize when I'm told, and update when I'm told on those platforms. So that's why I think SDL designed in SDL 3, they did, maybe in the previous versions of SDL that existed, but I think the modern version is to use this and have like these separate stages. So that's why what happens in init for me, and you can see, by the way, SDL prepared that, because SDL, you can see this void pointer stuff. This is actually meant so that I could actually like call new here, or malloc, or like do like C constructor stuff. And then later, you can see the update function, it passes the same thing that I initialized to me with a void pointer. I avoided the stuff because I'm using a singleton. But if I didn't use a singleton, like I didn't assume that it's just going to be one window, one app, I would have to pass, do basically a similar thing. Like here I would create the AppHolder, right? I would have to make a new AppHolder and give it to this void pointer. Then I would pass it back. I would have to cast this pointer. I would have to do like a reinterpret cast and cast this pointer every time I'm getting it to my object, so I can pass it along to functions that do anything useful. So it would just make a really horrible syntax, which is why I decided to just make AppHolder static for now. And maybe if there's a reason, I would change it to not be static. But at least for a game, I can't imagine it being not static. But maybe for an app, if I made an app that can run multiple instances off, maybe I would maybe the static would be a limitation and I would remove it. Okay, this was a long answer. Hopefully that made sense. Thank you for the question. Okay. So what I do want to do now that I'm here, first of all, there should be a way. Let's see if if I remember that exactly. Ooh. Okay, so I'm trying to see what it is that they want from me. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to take a break for about 20 seconds while I'm going to get some water, and I'll be back. All right, I'm back. Let's make sure the world is not collapsing. By the way, if you like the Modalix plugins, we have a Black Friday sale happening right now. Okay, you should definitely check out the Modalix plugins that are going on sale. There's also Plugin Buddy, which is free, which you should download if you have not. So go to the Modalix website right now and check out amazing plugins that we're making for really good discounts, etc. Okay. Oop. Okay, so let's, sorry, my, looks like, yes, I might need to go and do a mix at some point today. Okay, but let's get some things still happening, which hopefully I can. So let's see if I can make at least some advancements on this project. The first thing I wanted to do is I want to go and read the SDL docs. There is something about SDL frame limits or whatever it's called. I think they have a function for the frame limiting stuff. Okay, so but here it is. So this is something they do often. So it's SDL get ticks. Okay, good. So they, I think that's usually the, that's usually what I'm seeing. Let's see if I can get this to work. So what I want is, I want to make sure that, I want to pass in the time to this update function. So basically I want to break this update function, update app. Okay, so, let's see how do they do the ticks format. So SDL get ticks. Let's look at the documentation for that. SDL3. Okay, get ticks, and it returns unsigned int 4 representing number of milliseconds. Okay, so it's milliseconds. Perfect. Safety function running thread. That's good. Good. So what I want is I want to trigger this so that I would know how long has passed since the last update call. So my idea is that I should be able to do let's see. So here it is. So the update function, instead of doing that, what I'm gonna already pass is I can pass. Does millisecond make sense? You can also pass hertz. It is. I can do here because here I can do SDL get ticks. Yeah. Right. So here's another use for the app holder. The app holder can also store something like the previous time. So it can store something like uint64 last frame time, which is this is an internal thing. Yeah, because I can just pass the difference. I don't know if I need to. Yeah, because I think I would also like to implement some frame limiting right here already. Yeah, so, but let's, and so maybe I can do, let's start with that. Let's do, so current time is SDL get ticks. And then frame diff equals current time minus AppHolder last frame time. And what do we want? I want to call this with frame diff, right? Basically gives this like a much of it. So maybe I would, because it's possible that I would need to pass other information here. Yeah, so maybe I'm going to do something like update, let's call it update info, and it's going to do for millisecond time since or time passed, or yeah, or frame time. And then I'm going to change this to accept this update info. I'm making this a struct array because it's likely that I would have other things be involved here. Okay, so I'm passing that, and then what I can do here, if I would, let's start with this one. If I'm gonna know the const engine update info, then I can do something like if info frame time is, if it's less than, if it's bigger than in milliseconds, let's like something like 100 milliseconds. Or let's do 10 milliseconds, like 100 frames per second, basically. So only if that happens, do this. And just for fun, I'm gonna do something like std cout missed frame, because I want to see how many frames I'm gonna basically save here. Good. So now the abstraction layer is going to do I don't need this temporary variable. But now that I've finished with this, I need to store the previous time like this, and then pass the info. And I also need to fix my const engine update info. Let's see if this works. So this is basically implementing a very basic frame limiting to avoid hammering. Oh, this is good. Okay, so now you can see that it's the rate where this things get passed. Do I see something on the console? I think I got this incorrect. Current time. That sounds weird. So I keep getting wait, is that actually I think the numbers of milliseconds here don't make sense. Maybe it's my debugger. Let's see what I'm actually getting here. Oh, no, it's not, does not go for the frame time. It goes for the, it equals the current time. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, good. This much better. Oh, but this is not good. I need to do, no, I cannot do it like this. I need to know when I can just know the previous time for the previous call, because this would be very short. I think what I need is, I need to know what the previous time for the actual time that's drawn. So maybe I, yeah, because I need something to manage this kind of state for me. Okay, so let's see if we can, I'm getting distracted today because a million things are happening today. I don't know why people, I just woke up and everyone wanna get my attention today, and I have to do a mix for this amazing artist that wants me to mix his track, and the track is unbelievable, but rightfully so. They want some attention. So this might be the next thing that I do after I finish this little bit. Yeah, because what I need to know, I do need to know if the frame was actually rendered, not just the last, not just the difference. So maybe the way to do this, let me think about that. Yeah, because maybe I'll just use regular frame limiting for this for now. I definitely don't love the idea that my logical update happens on this kind of loop. Maybe I'm gonna let's revert this change that I've done. I think I don't like this. I think so. There should be something. There should be an SDL thing that I can use already for the SDL frame limit. SDL3. What is that called? SDL3 wiki. Or maybe it's actually here. Maybe it's in the parameters for what I call. Okay. forgot. I found that function already, where it sets the limit. I wonder where that is. Frame, no. Rate, what's like rate? Oh wait, this is interesting. Main callback rate. I think that's what I need. This is what I need. Okay. Numbers in hertz, or okay. Good. So right when I do this, probably should this be done? It's just ignored. Okay, but all right. Does it say when it should be called? Okay. Is that it? What do I pass into this thing? So do I need to define this? Maybe I need to define this. Null for the hand, will destroy the default. Okay. Oh, this is the actual function. Or maybe this just does this internally, I don't know. Can I just do this? Is there an example of this somewhere? Let's have a look if there's something to be found here. Oh, so it's a type of hint. Okay, so SDL set hint. Okay, so you have to tell you what the hint is. And then this 60. Or 60. Okay, let's see what this looks like. I think this is better. I'm not sure. I'm trying to see if the speed is consistent, but I think it's not, because I think the updates happen on a still. Yeah, so maybe this doesn't work as it should. So let's go back to the frame limiting thing. Let's see if I can have the app manage that. Maybe that would be a good thing. So the app, what I call app state. Yeah, so what I can do is I can do something like a UN64 time sense last frame. And then this should be something like current frame time. I'll just call it frame time. Frame time. And then current. So I want to know, like, how, do I need to know how long that is? Because I can just do it like a last frame. Maybe that's last frame time, current frame time, and then there's going to be a function that says, you know, how much, if I need to do like a logical update. And then I can do something like, ooh, my window is jumping in weird ways. All right, so the idea is I should need to do something like UN64 get. Get frame time. Current minus last. And then I should be able to also do something like a min frame rate or min frame time equals 10 milliseconds. So then when I get the actual update, here. So here when I get the actual update from SDL, let's just go to app equals get app. And then before I start the thing, I could do app state. Frame time equals STL get ticks. And then at the end, it's going to be something like last frame time equals state current frame time. And then I would only call this if, so I can have something like a bool should process frame, and that should return get frame time equals or equal to min frame time. So if app state, let's get the state here. O2 state equals app state. If state should process frame, then do this. This can be a pointer. State. Let's see how that works. So what I'm expecting is the frame rate to be updated in a more consistent rate. So that there it is. So this and there you go. So that's much slower, but that first of all, this should save a dramatic amount of CPU because for quite a but it should also be expected. So now I can change the little game thing to be faster. Like which speed did I do here? Speed. Yeah, let's make the speed bigger. So let's have, this or something like a higher range of speeds. But it should be consistent. It should not be, there you go. It's a little better. Let's make it faster. Okay, so I'm getting different speeds, but they're consistent. This is much better. So that means that I'm logically only doing both the renders and the updates in some frame that makes sense. In this case, it should be 100 frames per second. But I probably need to move the logic, right? If I want to make an actual game, I need to move the logic to something even more predictable. But this is a good start. So let's let's start with that because this is good. And events I would still get whenever they arrive. So that's kind of separate from this. And I still have this bug, by the way. Look at this beautiful bug that SDL has. But all right, so let me commit this. Let's say that added frame limiting for the update loop. All right, that's good. I need to actually get off the stream, so I might continue this later. Thank you all for watching, and see you soon.